Welcome to my YouTube world, Legal Life. I am with Senior Advocate Geeta Luthra and perhaps one of the few female members practicing in the criminal matters. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, tell me about your early education, how you came across in the profession.
I decided at the age of 7 that I had to be a lawyer. In any case, I was sort of determined and I knew that nothing would stop me. So, in fact, one of my friends who joined MBA, Pinky Anand, I persuaded her to leave MBA, XLRI and come into law. So we got her into law also, and then both of us decided we are doing law. And so the early education was in Presentation Convent School. I was the first alumni president of ELISA. Also Presentation Convent, which was my school. Then I went on to Lady Shriram College, where I did political science. So I think that was the best, and we went on to Campus Law Center. From Campus Law Center, I remember many of my colleagues, brilliant, exceptional, were scared to go into law. Today they are outstanding lawyers, and so I won't like to take their names. But I was determined I was going to be a lawyer. Nothing intimidated me, nothing scared me, and not even the atmosphere which was so conservative for women. So I gave the IAS exam, and when I got, I had to come back for the finals. In the meantime, I got admission to Cambridge, and I told my father, I said, look, I'm going to do law. If you're very keen, I'll do the IAS. I'll prove to you I can do it. I am a topper through political science and through law faculty, coming among the first two in both universities. But I'll do law. I thought it was very simple for me to crack any exam. But I said, I can do it to prove to you, but the basic thing is I'm going to do law. This is clear. When I came back, my mother was further improved, so I felt, why miss the scholarship? So I wrote back to Cambridge and I said, I'm coming back for my MPhil. And I went and did an MPhil in International Relations, International Law on Run of Kutch. So that's my academic career.
So ma'am, did you went directly after you did your law from Faculty of Law, and did you went directly? A lot of people have issues. Should we go directly do LLM, or should we take a break, practice and then go?
So I'll tell you, as far as Cambridge, Oxford and the UK colleges are concerned, they are very happy to take you on straight away, and a lot depends on your academic performance. But the US, for example, is more happy with experience, and therefore there's always this issue that if you want to go to the UK, which is far more reasonable on the pocket. I was on a scholarship throughout, so that's not the issue. But for others who may be spending their own money, then they may find UK financially more viable. And also you don't, what people think, waste a year, you go immediately. But if you want to go to the US and to a good college in the US, then working with a lawyer, working as a clerk with a judge, doing some academic performance will always help in securing admission to a better institute. And obviously institutions like Yale, which might be perhaps one of the toughest to get in, prefer people who want to come back to academia and give back to the system than those who will be lawyers.
If you choose pretty early specialization, would it help in your competence? You will be very competent enough. You should practice, help people in other segment also, but take one way very early. So it helps you to develop those skills very pretty early. Like when you're 30, 35, you are able to have those skills and you can practice even better practice you can have. What do you think about it?
So the question that you are asking, is it better to specialize or be a general lawyer?
Be a generalist.
Then, see, it's very interesting. A specialist will be able to give you your answer in a minute.
Hmm.
A general lawyer who does not have the grasp of the field may actually miss a very important point because he does not know the nuances of the law in that field. So what you are saying is right, but there is no substitute for hard work. And the moment that you work hard, you can master anything. Because the basic concepts are common, are common sense. And so, if you work hard enough, you will be able to, if you apply your mind, be able to find the solution of the problem.
The next problem that people have, and a question that I posted, ma'am, people think that if you're well connected prior when you join the profession, you have an advantage. And if you're not connected, you don't have a chance to have a good practice or become a senior advocate or practice at the highest level. What do you have to say about that?
See, I don't think that's totally true. I don't want to give examples because those very persons may disagree with me because once you are successful, you may want to say no, something good about your family or connections, or some may have a different view. But my view is, if you have an infrastructure, see, law was always a profession for the royalty. Law was a profession for those who were well connected and came from very royal background families. Because the gestation period in law, not today, but at my time or even earlier in my father's time, was about 5 to 10 years. Now 5 to 7 to 10 years to be able to sustain yourself in a style which is supposedly, allegedly behoving a lawyer, when the incoming is not commensurate, is very difficult. So basically what do you do? Then what the whole issue is, I can't be an arguing counsel because I need the money which one of the top law firms will give me, even though it will not give me a chance to argue. I can't afford to be in litigation because as a corporate lawyer I'll earn 10 times more. So these are arguments which are there today. But 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I decided to marry a lecturer and I was starting my profession. So it was literally a position of riches to rags, because I was literally, because my father was doing well, I was literally born with a silver spoon. But the silver spoon went away when you got married and you had just started the profession. I've just been back from England for a few months, and so you were struggling. But I feel that it always helps to know somebody. This profession is a profession of godfathers. But having said that, I have seen some of the most exceptional people come who have not had any background. So there is, as I said, no substitute for hard work. One of my colleagues who came to me and joined my office at that time said that I've been told that I won't get a good job if I don't use the contacts that I have. And even though I have contacts, I want it on my own merits. So I'm not going to tell anyone in my family. So this can be a spirit. It's depending on what you and you will do, according to me, equally well. Where I mean, you do have an advantage if you are connected. You do have an advantage if you have a chamber. You do have an advantage if you have, for example, a very large social circle. You have an advantage if you come from a rich business family where your father gives you an office in Jorbag to start with. So there will be advantages. But having said that, hard work is a big equalizer. And I think one can do equally well, if not better, just by dint of pure hard work.
Ma'am, do you ever doubt your credentials? You may not always get a favorable order from the court. Always you will not get. So do you doubt when you come back and you sulk, you see everything, I prepared my 100%, but I didn't get the order.
So sometimes you do feel disappointed with the result. You won't be human if you didn't feel disappointed, and so you may feel that you didn't get the time to put your best point forward. The person or the judge who was listening to your matter did not appreciate your point. Maybe you didn't put it across as well. There are always self-doubts. This is bound to happen in a profession. It's like a musician giving a performance. One day you give a brilliant performance. One day you paint a brilliant masterpiece. Another day you paint a normal. And one of the things that we as seniors should tell junior counsel is, but don't imbibe the scolding and the shouting and the putting down which you will get in the profession, in that sense. And we have to just be very resilient. I think the word is only resilient. You have to be resilient. You have to be strong, and you have to look past all the screaming and shouting and putting down which happens in court, whether from the other side or for the court or from the circumstances or even from the client.
What are the skills required by a legal professional to achieve excellence? So ma'am, enumerate some skills and how you can improve those skills.
So one is ease of expression, and I think that's very important because sometimes one is not trained in English or educated in English as its first language. Sometimes you don't have the confidence of expression. Sometimes you don't have the command over the language. I think one of the things which anybody should do is to read the newspaper loudly. If you read it loudly and if you read it quietly, your expression will grow. Or read books, read general books of English, in the English language, so that your expression improves. In cross-examination, I think for one, think about my case. I should be the master of the facts of the case. I should be able to think of the case. I should know what question to ask and what not to ask. One of the most lethal things is people asking questions which are not to be asked and which prove the other side's case. So I think this is something which is very important. One has to be very careful of what you ask as a cross-examiner, and you should know your facts well. cross-examiner also has to be very quick on the uptake. Normally have one other colleague with you if you can. Cross-examination is a very difficult art, and you may be an aggressive cross-examiner and intimidate the witness. You may be a soft examiner who may beguile the witness. You may take him into confidence and make him make admissions. You may make the witness angry and make him say things which he didn't intend to say, which are illogical. So there are various arts which go into cross-examination. It's not everybody's baby, and there are now fewer and fewer good cross-examining lawyers, because people have just lost the art. People are not reading their Evidence Act well. People are not knowing how to conduct a cross-examination. As far as the court is concerned, I think one has to be just very respectful to the court. You have to realize it's an institution. It's not the man who is sitting on the chair. It's the chair that you respect. And if you realize that that it's the chair that you are respecting, then the profession can go on and on well. So,
Ma'am, how do you enhance that? Everyone is not born with good cross-examination skills. So how do a young lawyer who's entering can upgrade his skills?
so it's very difficult. You have either to use your own intellect, or you should be with a lawyer who is a good cross-examiner, who then you sit with him, study why he's asking those questions. You become an expert on that file, and while he does the cross-examination, if you follow that person, that's the best way. What else is required of a good lawyer?
Research skills.
Of course, research skills, but today's day of, with so many search engines, I think
It's easy.
it's easier, but you should know what you are researching. For example, out of that proposition you can take out 10 issues. There's an issue of estoppel, there's an issue of, say, holding over in a transfer property act case, there's issue of legal notice, validity of notice, etc. So, unless you do general studying of law, you won't know what are the issues that arise. Research is after you know what is the issue that you are researching. So I, for one, one of the things that I would do as a young lawyer is I would subscribe to all the SCCs, the DRJs, the DLTs, and now people do it online most of the time. And you have engines like Live Law and whatever. No, you have Live Law which keeps giving you updates. But just read law. I would sit at night while others would be reading other stuff. My general reading has gone really poor, though most good lawyers do a lot of general reading. Judge,
Ma'am, what do you think now young lawyers are directly going to the Supreme Court? Not even practicing at the lower courts, they are directly going. What do you think about that?
When the work environment in the Supreme Court is something which is so conducive, there are many young people who will want to go there directly. Now, unless you make the environment in the trial courts as conducive, who are we to say that they should not go directly to the Supreme Court? The only thing that you can say is they have to be cautious because they are shouldering a very big responsibility. Who did I find extremely quick and very bright. I think Justice Kirpal was somebody that I found extremely impressive. Went on to become Chief Justice of India. He didn't waste time. He would wait outside the court and draft 5 petitions while waiting. His hard work was legendary. His knowledge was good. I think I had a great regard for Justice Ruma Pal. She was very erudite, bright. Among, yes, I mean, among the people that as a judge and for the vastness of his knowledge, Justice Nariman is respected, Justice Sikri is respected.
Thank you. I would like to thank ma'am for her time. She had very short time, but she still made it the time for me. Thank you ma'am for your time and consideration. And in the end, I would like to thank Ritu ma'am for coordinating everything with being there. And I hope this information provides value to your career.